presentation of Fox Sports.
We are sports. We are Sun.
Last night at Fenway Park, Drew Smyly continued his dominance of the Red Sox, tossing 8 shutout innings. But the game was scoreless until the 10th, when Kevin Kiermaier blasted a solo shot to right. And Desmond Jennings doubled home 2, leading the Rays to their 3rd consecutive victory. Tonight, right-hander Chris Archer goes to the hill in search of his first win in the 2016 season. It will be another cool but clear night in Boston as we greet you from Fenway Park. Game 2 of this 3-game series on tap between the Rays and the Boston Red Sox. Rays winners last night in 10 innings, a 3-0 final, as they've taken the first game of this series and the season series from Boston. Hi again, everyone, with Brian Anderson, Dwayne Stats. Great to have you aboard. Well, Kevin Kiermaier, the hero last night with the home run. Drew Smyly pitching so well on the hill for the Rays. You know, Sunday it was Brian Geyer who had a 4-for-4 night, and now a hero, different hero every day. And through it all, Evan Longoria, when the Rays and the Red Sox get together, it's time for Longoria to step up, and boy, he does that time after time.
I mean, he loves hitting here in Fenway Park. You go back and look, he has a streak going. It started June the 1st, 2014, now spanning 15 games of a hitting streak here at Fenway, and it is not a by the skin of your teeth hitting streak. It is with damage, a .418 average. His on-base percentage is at .507, the 6 doubles, 3 home runs, 7 runs driven in. He loves the bright lights, loves the big stage. You certainly get that here in Boston, and he comes through in a big, big way, and we'll see if he can continue that streak here tonight.
Well, there's Evan Longoria. Had a big hit last night and outstanding defensively, a big part of the Rays' victory here over the Red Sox. Tonight, Chris Archer will go to the hill for the Rays, trying to turn things around and extend this mini win streak the Rays have going. Todd Callis will have more on that, and we'll hear from David Price as well.
Archer warming up in the Fenway Park bullpen as he gets ready for his 4th start of the season. Rays are looking for 4 wins in a row tonight, the middle game of a 3-game series against the Boston Red Sox. Not only is Archer pitching against the Boston Red Sox, he's pitching against his buddy David Price's team again, this time in a Red Sox uniform. A little different to see Price wearing the 24 and wearing a Red Sox jersey. He will pitch against the Rays in the finale tomorrow afternoon. We did ask David Price about has he been following what Chris Archer has done this year and what he expects tonight.
I'm excited to watch him pitch today. I've got to see a couple of his games, this year, and he's fine. He's going to be fine. We're human. We're going to struggle, and that's part of it. He's got that same mentality and that same work ethic that I've always known Chris Archer to have. So I know the funk that he's in right now is he's going to get out of it, and that's what the good pitchers do. They stop those those bad starts, at 2 and 3 starts. They don't let it creep into 5 and 6 for an entire month. And I got confidence in Arch to throw the baseball the way that he can.
So we are getting ready on a Web Wednesday. Those guys can answer your questions tonight. Here's how: through Twitter at Fox Sports Rays with the hashtag AskRays, or email us at foxsportsun@gmail.com. Ready for baseball on a Wednesday night. 104 years ago today, the first game was played here at Fenway Park, and tonight it'll be the Rays and the Red Sox right around the corner on Fox Sports Sun.
Tonight's Wednesday Showdown is brought to you by your Tampa Bay area Mazda dealers. Rays and the Red Sox going at it, middle game of the series. Following the Rays' victory last night, Logan Forsythe about to step in to start this one, facing right-hander Rick Porcello. And the first pitch in this game presented by Pitch a Penny, and it is taken low for ball 1. 48 degrees here in Boston at Fenway Park to start play tonight. Foul out of play, and the count is 1-1. Lineup presented by your Southern Ford dealer. Forsythe and Morrison in Longoria. Dickerson the DH, followed by Desmond Jennings, and then Brad Miller, Souza Jr., Kiermaier, and Conger. 7, 8, and 9 in the Rays lineup. Two balls and a strike.
Yeah, and for Rick Porcello, it's nice to see a new team. He's had 2 starts on the season, 2-0 record, ERA 5.11, both of them coming against the Toronto Blue Jays.
There's a miss. Running the count to 3-1.
I'll tell you, we really have seen Logan Forsythe put together some very good at-bats. As aggressive as this lineup has been, he has not been chasing outside the zone or even on borderline pitches until he needs to.
There's a strike. The count is full. Well, he may not have been in that leadoff spot many times before this year and was a little concerned about maybe moving in there, but he's been outstanding as the leadoff hitter in this lineup. Out on strikes right here. Some movement on the fastball, and Porcello picks up a strikeout.
Well, let's take a look at that Boston Red Sox defense and see how it's going to line up behind Porcello tonight. Brought to you by Gold and Diamond Source. In the outfield left to right, we have Brock Holt, Jackie Bradley Jr., and Mookie Betts. And across that infield third to first, Travis Shaw, Xander Bogaerts, Dustin Pedroia, and Hanley Ramirez with Christian Vasquez behind the plate.
Logan Morrison. And he takes the first pitch strike.
Well, and that's what Rick Porcello is trying to get back to. Last year, a lot of balls up in the zone, set a career high for home runs given up. His ground ball percentage went way down, so he's going to be trying to pound the bottom of that zone to work balls out on the ground for the infielders, because that's where he makes his money, so to speak, is a ground ball pitcher.
Well, Logan Morrison off to a slow start in a Rays uniform. Is 4 for 7 in his career against Porcello. And Kevin Cash, the Rays manager, has been talking about how Morrison is showing some signs and some near misses of turning this slow start around. Right now he's behind in the count, 1-2.
You know, and you get to the point where if you're Logan Morrison, you don't want to hear about near misses anymore. You want some balls to fall in. That's where you're going to get your confidence back from.
And that's a strike on the inside part of the plate. Came back. 2 gone.
Well, you know, Porcello, not a big strikeout pitcher, not a power pitcher. He'll get some strikeouts, but he's not a power guy. And typically with these guys, especially after coming in the previous pitch, now you're looking middle away. How is he going to put you there? Well, he comes right back with that 2-seamer, a little late movement, and he freezes Logan Morrison. That was a tremendous pitch by Rick Porcello.
Brings up Evan Longoria. And Longoria did go, says James Hoy. Evan hitting .269. A couple of home runs with 6 runs batted in. Porcello 2-0. Coming in at 12 1/3 and giving up 4 home runs. All of that to Toronto on the 2 starts he made against the Blue Jays. 2 home runs hit by Jose Bautista and a couple by Encarnacion. And now he's ahead of Longoria and in a spot to strike out the side to begin this game.
And you do not want to see that last pitch start to get loose. That was a changeup designed for the inside corner.
Fly ball right center field. Betts on the run, still back, reaching up to make the catch. And the Rays are out 1-2-3 in the first. Bottom of the inning coming up with Chris Archer headed to the mound. of the first inning. The Red Sox lineup presented by your Southern Ford dealers. Mookie Betts leads it off. Dustin Pedroia hits second, and then Xander Bogaerts third. David Ortiz the DH in front of Hanley Ramirez and Travis Shaw. Brock Holt gets a start tonight, hitting seventh. Christian Vasquez, the catcher, bats eighth, and Jackie Bradley Jr., and the only hit of the game last night for Boston, will play center field and hit ninth.
Well, Rays right-hander Chris Archer taking the mound here tonight, and for Chris, it's all about getting back to his customary release point. Finding that release point, that's going to go a long way towards allowing him to command the fastball around the zone and get on top of the slider so he can get that good depth.
This pitch is a high fastball. 1-0. Betts 2 of 11 in his young career against Archer. And again, a pitch up 2-0, and that's been symptomatic of his troubles.
It absolutely has, and what he's doing is he is heading towards home plate just a hair too soon. The arm never catches up. Very reminiscent of how he started the season. Those fastballs way up above the zone. That's another 3 in a row, and they weren't even close. And you know all he's trying to do is throw a strike. Forget about a quality strike, just a strike.
There's a strike, 3-1.
See how quickly Chris can make that adjustment to get back into the zone, and then once he does that, then you start working the corners.
And ball 4 gives the base to Mookie Betts to begin this inning, with the Rays pitching retired the last 23 Red Sox last night. Now leadoff walk tonight.
Well, let's take a look at the Rays defense for you. Brought to you by Gold and Diamond Source. In the outfield left to right, we've got Jennings, Kiermaier, and Souza Jr. And across that infield third to first, Longoria, Miller, Forsythe, and Morrison, with Hank Conger getting the call behind the plate tonight.
Well, Betts over at first base with speed. And we'll see how quickly the Red Sox try to put their running game into play. There's a strike to Pedroia.
Well, the Red Sox were thrown out in their first attempt in Cleveland on April the 5th. Since then, they are perfect. 9 out of 9, and we know that Hank Conger has had his issues in throwing out opposing base runners.
A move to first by Archer. Conger allowing 5 stolen bases. Started against Cleveland Thursday and allowed those 5 steals. 3 coming in the first inning of that game. There's a foul ball back. 0-2.
Well, and that was with Chris Archer on the mound. Chris Archer this year has given up 4 stolen bases. Last year he gave up 7 for the season. So that will be something to watch tonight, because Boston's got a number of guys that can and will run, and we'll see that tonight.
And Betts is one of them over at first. Betts has walked to start the inning. Pitch is down, a scoop by Conger, and Betts started and then decided to get back to first, and no throw by Conger.
I think Hank Conger got his feet tangled up a little bit after he made that scoop. He was going to go maybe down there and snap throw to first base, and it just wasn't very smooth. After at this point you jump up and you kind of stumble right there, and wisely held on to that ball.
Stairs with a fastball, 2-2.
You see how deliberate Chris Archer has been with the base runner at first? because of the issues that they had in the last start, and that Hank has had in throwing out base stealers, that puts a big onus on Chris Archer to really do a job to control the running game. So not only is he trying to get himself back mechanically sound and throwing strikes, he's got to worry about that runner.
Base hit into center field. Up to second goes Betts. And Pedroia is aboard. 2 men on with nobody out.
There's so much energy paying attention to Mookie Betts over at first base. Now you still got to make a pitch. There was another slider right there it's the same thing that we've seen here in the early part of this season. Didn't have the depth to it, kind of a rolling slider, and Pedroia is able to capitalize.
And that's something that recently Archer was talking about, admitting that he hasn't had his A slider. And boy, that's a big part of his success story.
Especially because the changeup is still not a pitch that he incorporates regularly. So it's fastball slider. If the fastball commands off and the slider doesn't have its depth, it does not bode well.
There's a strike to Bogaerts. First pitch slider. Xander Bogaerts. Comes into the game at 2:04. And an 0 for 14 streak going. Well, the Rays would like to keep that going. Fouled out of play. 0-2. This is a completely different rhythm for Archer here in the first inning with a walk and a single. See, Bogaerts with men in scoring position has been a tough out. Ground ball through the hole into left. Betts heads to the plate. And the Red Sox take a 1-0 lead on a walk and back-to-back singles. Bogaerts drives in the run.
Well, definitely here in the early going, the rhythm is off. And that pitch right there, just catching a little bit too much plate. Bogaerts too good of a hitter. He's got very quick hands. So even though this pitch has good velocity to it, he's able to get the barrel to it, find an open hole, and the Red Sox are off here in the first.
Well, David Ortiz will hit. 13 pitches into the game, and the Red Sox have scored a run. Something they could not do through 10 innings last night. I don't know to Ortiz. Out of play. It's 1-1. Ortiz with a couple of career home runs at the expense of Chris Archer. 9 of 27 against him. 506 total home runs for Ortiz. 26th. Puts him 3 back of Gary Sheffield.
I think that's the pitch too. I mean, not only does Chris Archer need to get the depth back to that slider, but he needs to figure out how and when to incorporate that changeup more so that he has another weapon. So if the slider's not there in the early going, he's got another way to get you out to buy himself some time.
Liner into left center field. That's going to roll all the way to the wall. Pedroia scores. Bogaerts on his way to the plate on the double by Ortiz. And just like that, it's 3-0.
Well, if you go back to this pitch, this is another breaking ball that just doesn't have a lot of action on it. And so when you're geared up, waiting for 95 and you get a hanging breaking ball, you see this, it's just kind of spinning. That's what you call the cement mixer. That ball's just spinning middle of the plate, no depth, no real movement on it. Just too easy for David Ortiz, and he hit that ball so hard he got it all the way to the wall on the ground.
So the Red Sox come out swinging. They put up 3, nobody out. And here is Hanley Ramirez. First pitch is a strike. Now you think about getting that ball to the wall and the ground when you have Kiermaier and Jennings out there.
Yeah.
2 guys who can run a little bit.
Yep. That ball was hit very, very hard. And for Chris Archer, you can imagine what his mindset was coming into this start, let alone how this ball game has started. This is where it becomes a challenge. It becomes a grind, and you see what a guy is made out of, because this is not fun and this is not easy.
Well, he came out in this game the way he really did opening day, with the fastball up and looking for that really sharp slider.
Let's see, these swings by Boston hitters, and that was just a foul ball, but the swings are just telling you how comfortable they are in the box. They're up there. They know that Chris Archer has been struggling with command. They know that, mentally he can't be feeling really good about how this season has started. And so they are up there digging in and taking big, big swings.
Ball, 2 strikes in the dirt.
And that's the slider that when you have seen him throw sliders that end up in the dirt, when he threw those last year, those would start same plane. Like it was going to be right in the middle of the zone, about thigh high, and then it would just bottom out with late movement. Now it's angled down and it finishes down. It still doesn't have that same bite even when it's in the dirt.
This one in the dirt, skipping by Conger. A wild pitch will move Ortiz over to third.
And he's trying to jump on that pitch. Tried to throw a slider there, tried to add a little bit more velocity to it to get the movement on that pitch that he normally gets, and he just overthrows it and spikes it into the ground, and it's able to sneak by Hank Conger. That's right there, a pitcher trying to make an adjustment on a pitch that he knows is just not there for him right now.
And a swing through this one. So Ramirez out on the fastball, and that one in the mid-90s for the first out.
Well, the velocity has been good tonight, and this was a big, big strikeout. Not only a confidence boost for Chris Archer, but with that runner on third, nobody out, any kind of contact, you got a chance to score a run. He's able to pick up the strikeout, and let's see where he goes from here. Well, you could finish this inning off somehow, stranding David Ortiz at third base, then maybe you can start to see the light at the end of the tunnel.
Travis Shaw. Pitch is down, slider. Well, and to the point that you made about the changeup, there's no question it's hard to be a starting pitcher and essentially a 2-pitch pitcher. And if you're having trouble commanding those two, you need another one even more. But getting command of those first 2 pitches is a big step in the right direction, and he's battling with that right now.
Yeah, and he's tried to come in with a couple of changeups here to start this at bat, just trying to find a way to incorporate it. And both of them have been spiked right into the ground, and that's the tough part is, how much work do you get on that pitch? that's not something that you could just roll out into a ball game and it's going to be there for you. There's got to be a lot of work put in, not only on the pitch, but how do I use it? And so, you think about, spring training. That's typically, we already talked about Jake Odorizzi wanted to use the curveball more, become a more complete pitcher in his mind, using all 4 pitches. Drew Smyly and his emphasis and focus on improving his changeup and the usage of that pitch. We've seen him be able to do that.
And now it's 3-1 to Shaw. Ortiz down at third base. Conger doing everything he can to keep that last pitch in front of him.
Sacrifices body for that pitch.
Three and one to count. Rolls foul. The count is full.
Well, now you've got a chance, 2 strikes, to try to pick up another strikeout, which Chris Archer desperately needs right here. And you've put yourself in position.
Well, that earned Shaw another pitch there, 3-2. That foul ball.
You're still just not quite seeing the depth on that slider. You hate to keep talking about it, but you remember that pitch last year. It was likened to a curveball. It was an 88-mile-an-hour curveball for all intents and purposes.
And a cut and a miss. Big strikeout with the mid-90s fastball. So a couple of strikeouts to Hanley Ramirez and Travis Shaw. 2 outs now with Ortiz still at third and 3 runs home.
They kind of lulled him to sleep. Those sliders, you're fouling those off and battling, and then he goes up in the zone with 95. It looks good, and obviously difficult to get there as he couldn't do it.
Now Brock Holt gets the start. Holt in left field. Inside, 1-0.
Well, the versatility that Brock Holt brings to this Boston Red Sox team. We highlighted it last night, how he has started at 7 different defensive positions. You can get him in almost every night. Right now getting a lot of time out in left field with a right-handed pitcher on the mound.
Yeah, all of his starts so far this year have been in left, but you're right, he's played all 3 outfield positions and every position on the infield. Two and one. Right now it's a 32 pitch first inning for Chris Archer. So this is exactly what he wanted to avoid.
You go back to opening day, it was the 34 pitch first against the Blue Jays. And that's not exactly the breakout that we're used to seeing from Chris Archer, just barely over 50% strikes.
Ground ball, diving stop. Forsythe gets up and makes a great play to retire Holt at first base and close out the inning. The Red Sox score 3, and Forsythe denied them another run with this great play at the end of an inning. 3-0 Boston. tonight. A 3-run first for the Red Sox. For Chris Archer, a 33-pitch first inning.
But you got to love the way that it ended. You know, David Ortiz, remember, he got over to third base with nobody out. And he did indeed strand him. Obviously deep in thought right now, figuring out what went wrong, how he recovered, and hopefully he can just keep it spinning going forward. You know that the Rays are going to get their opportunities off of Porcello.
Well, Corey Dickerson leads it off, and he takes the ball. Red Sox put the shift on. Shaw, the lone defender on the left side. Two balls, no strikes. Three and 0. Porcello, known for his control, falling behind Dickerson. There's Jennings on deck. Three and 1. Piece of that one. The count is full. Dickerson, starting last night, went 0 for 4. Lifted for the pinch hitter Brandon Guyer in the 10th inning. And the Rays scored 3 and went on to win that one 3-0. They trailed 3-0 in the second inning tonight.
And look where all those pitches are. Staying away because of Dickerson's power. But let me tell you something. You stay out there all night, he'll go over the monster.
Fouls that one. The fastball straight back.
He's got that kind of power, and we've seen him do that. You see some of the highlight reels from being in Colorado. He's got power that literally goes from foul pole to foul pole, and we've seen him hit a number of balls out to left center field. So you stay in one area with this guy, he's strong enough to go with authority the other way.
This one skied to left center field. Holt is there to make the call and the grab. It's the first out in the second inning. Now Desmond Jennings. Desmond came up with a big hit in the 10th inning last night after the Rays had taken a 1-0 lead on Kiermaier's home run. Jennings doubled up the right field line, chasing home 2 more.
Yeah, that was encouraging to get those add-on runs, keep the pressure on. And really, at 3-0, you felt like the game was blown open at that point, as good as the pitching had been all night.
It's 1-1. Balls and a strike on deck. Brad Miller. Miller, by the way, is 2 for 2 with a walk against Porcello. Both those hits home runs. He's waiting on deck. Jennings tried to hold, but he went around, and it's a 2-2 count.
I'll tell you, that fastball by Porcello had some late action. That's why when he's down in the zone, he gets that natural sink, and boy, it'll look good for a while, then all of a sudden, right below the zone it goes.
Full count. Swing and a miss. Gave him the fastball up a little bit, And Jennings is out on strikes.
Well, working with the lead, he was just going to challenge Desmond Jennings there, not wanting to walk him. And that's something he does a nice job of, is staying away from the walk. A pretty good career rate of walks per 9 innings, just over 2. And that's just a straight challenge fastball. 93 miles an hour, a little bit of elevation to it, and he picks the strikeout out.
And boy, you're right, with a 3-run lead, you will do that.
Yep.
Not afraid to challenge a hitter there rather than risk putting him on. 2 outs. Here's Brad Miller. There's a strike. Tonight's Buick GMC big matchup, and that reflects the 2 hits he has, a 2 home run game against Porcello and a walk when he was with Seattle. 1 ball, 1 strike. It's now 1 and 2.
And because of those numbers, look at the off speed that Brad Miller is seeing.
And you see Porcello work the corners away from these hitters.
And then try to surprise them in. You know, that's what we've seen. We saw him do it to Corey Dickerson.
2 and 2 on Miller. Strike 3 call. 2 strikeouts in the inning. 1, 2, 3 go the Rays. With 3-0 lead, here's your chance to get a steal, fans. Tonight's steal of the evening features a special Rays shirt with any ticket purchase to the game Saturday, April 30th. Available tonight only. Visit RaysBaseball.com/steal or call 888-FAN-RAYS for more information. Rays up. Christian Vasquez will lead off the bottom of the 2nd inning. Pitch is up and into him. 1-0.
Well, there was such a good adjustment made by Chris Archer in the 2nd half of that 1st inning. You don't want to see him go back and start again rushing towards home plate. That first fastball way up above the zone. There you go.
There's a strike. It's 1-1. Be out of play up the right side. You're never quite sure with the pesky pole down there. He was late on the fastball, but this is a place of the accidental home run at times. If you could keep it just inside that pole, just 302 down the line. He did go, yes he did, on the slider, and there's a strikeout for Archer. So one gone. The Toyota inside look as the Rays left-hander last night, Drew Smyly, was about as good as you could expect anybody to be, and his numbers since 2015 against the Red Sox, microscopic.
I mean, across the board. He gave up one hit last night to Jackie Bradley Jr., who's at the plate right now. But it really was any pitch, any location, in any count, all night long.
And we touched on it last night. It's just fun to watch him pitch. If you're truly interested in learning about pitching or enjoying it well done, there's a shot deep to center. Kiermaier going to have to play this one off the wall. It's going to be a double. Kiermaier got himself a little closer to the wall than he wanted to be, and then had to make a quick adjustment. Actually did a pretty good job of adjusting.
Quick feet, and you know, Kevin Kiermaier wants to make a play for his pitcher, so he's going to get on his horse right away thinking he's got a chance to run that ball down, and then realizing late, you know what, no I don't. But he did make a nice recovery to distance himself from the wall and make a play off of it. Right here's where you realize, uh-oh, now I gotta go. Not a bad job at all by Kevin Kiermaier.
Second double of the year for Bradley, who had the only hit of the ball game last night for Boston. And here in the second, he's in scoring position for the top of the order, Mookie Betts. Betts walked his first time. Batting again here in the second inning. One. Now Betts showing signs here in the early part of his career of being a valuable member of this Boston lineup out of the leadoff spot, because he's a guy who can get on base, he can run, so he'll steal a base, he'll take two bases, and he is capable of driving in runs. He'll give you a good at bat up there. Archer keeping an eye on Bradley. Another scoring opportunity for Boston.
Well, he also, you know, has that, he'll stay inside the baseball, use the whole field, pick his counts in which he's going to look to pull. He makes good adjustments. A lot to like about this youngster.
Pitch covered up there by Conger. Now 2-1.
You can see the foundation in place here for the Red Sox. When you think about Betts and Bogarts, Brock Holt's going to chip in all over the place. If they can get Jackie Bradley Jr. to be more consistent, how dangerous he could be, Travis Shaw. I mean, you start to look around. Christian Vasquez.
Yeah, they're happy to have him back.
Yeah.
With the job he does behind the plate after Tommy John surgery. Whoops, a long one to left. That one is out of here. Betts jumps on a 2-1 fastball and turns it around. A 2-run home run to make it 5-0.
Well, that's where you get an opportunity to see the lightning quick hands of Mookie Betts. Ready for the heater, and boy, did those hands move in a hurry.
You know, there was a case, you go to 2-1, and that's a mid-90s fastball, and he was right there to turn it around.
Well, he, you know, short stride, he got his plant foot down quickly and let the hands do the work.
And frankly, there was a slider prior to that he just didn't even think about, because it was not the kind of pitch that he was going to be fooled by. So he had the count in his favor and teed off. One and one to Pedroia. Into right, Souza Jr.'s there to make the catch. 2 outs. Well, one would think the only way Chris Archer is to get through this is to pitch his way through it. So now he's down 5-0. He should relax, take whatever he can take out of the rest of this evening, and if he finds himself, it's early enough, his teammates might score him some runs.
We've seen that in the past, the Rays falling down early and making a game of it later. And, you know, Chris Archer, I mean, he just needs to find out what is the issue here. Is it rushing towards home plate? Is it not being, you know, whatever the issue may be, because the stuff just hasn't looked the same. There have been times where the fastball, the velocity's good, the command has not always been there, the slider has not nearly had the same depth to it, and the few changeups we've seen have all been about 58, 59 feet.
Well, I think that at bat by Betts is a good example. He disregarded the slider and hit the 95-mile-per-hour fastball out of here. Bogarts is out of there. Longoria to Morris, hit 2-run score, 5-0 Boston. The board 5-0. We go to the third. Kids can learn how to throw their own strikeouts when they get a pitch grip baseball presented by the Tampa Bay Times Sunday, May 1st. All kids 14 and under receive their own pitch grip baseball when the Rays battle the Blue Jays. Call 888-FAN-RAYS or visit RaysBaseball.com tonight.
We always laud the Rays for their giveaways. And this could be my most anticipated giveaway. How cool is that?
Bogarts deep from short, and the throw. Ramirez could not hang on, and I think Souza Jr. was going to beat it out anyway. So the Rays get a base runner here to open the third.
That well-placed ground ball. Bogarts had to move to his right deep into the hole, and then just could get nothing on the throw. Just tried to flip it over there as quick as he could get rid of it. Too much air underneath it, and didn't matter anyway because Ramirez dropped it. But Souza was there.
So there's an infield hit for the Rays. And now Kevin Kiermaier. 1 ball, no strikes. Kiermaier hitting his first home run of the year last night in the 10th inning to give the Rays the lead. They added 2 and won that game 3-0. Popped up, that's headed out of play. And here's a look at the Kiermaier home run to right field last night.
Well, took advantage of a pitch that he had seen a couple of times earlier in the at-bat, and they finally got a hanger, and boy, did he cash in.
Fastball foul back, and it's 1-2. Kiermaier 4 of 17 in his career against Porcello. 14 games here at Fenway, hitting .300 in this ballpark. Number to the left side. Shaw gloves, and the throw. That's close at first. He's safe. Souza moves into second base, and Kiermaier's speed gives him an infield hit.
Well, you knew that was going to be trouble off the bat for the Red Sox defense, because Kevin Kiermaier out of the box from the left side. He gets to top speed quick.
And John Farrell would like the umpiring crew to take a look at that call at first.
Now you can understand why that ball in the scope of the glove, but remember, it's the ball in the back of the glove, and that was very, very close. Certainly it was within the confines of the glove. Let's see when it hits the back of that glove where the foot is. Yeah, that's going to get overturned. That's going to get overturned. That's the kind of pressure, though, that he puts on the defense, the way that he gets out of the box.
So a challenge here by Boston on what at first appeared to be an infield hit for Kiermaier. Jim Joyce over there, the crew chief, with James Hoy. Cello playing catch with Vasquez. Well, they're trying to determine the outcome of this play under review.
Here's one thing I can guarantee you: Steven Souza Jr. at second base. That's about it at this point.
So the challenge results in an out at first base. And it took them a little extra time, it appears, to make that call, but here's a pretty good look at it right there.
Ball right there, back of the glove. You can see the glove move. It rattles in the back. The foot's just off the bag, and by rule, he is out.
Now Hank Conger bats with Souza Jr. in scoring position at second. There he goes to third, and he is safe. Souza Jr. swiping third base. Picking up the stolen base for Souza, his first steal of the year.
Boy, look at that jump. He never stopped him. He never stopped him. Souza Jr. got a great jump and got that left foot in there safely. That's a big stolen base right here.
Pitch to Conger was a strike. Here's the play at third.
Boy, and you see him sliding to the outside part of the bag, forcing that tag to move the longest possible way.
Conger pops it up on the left side. And that Alex Shaw making the catch.
Well, and that's unfortunate there. Now it's going to be a 2-out hit or a wild pitch to get him in. But you swipe that bag, you get to third, less than 2. You start to try to chip away at this lead. And Porcello almost off the hook.
Yeah, that was a heads-up move by Souza Jr. to steal third, trying to generate something for the Rays. You know, if that leads to a run, then you start to generate some momentum.
Well, and you know, everybody tries to get a moving lead out at second. It's a difficult angle for a pitcher looking straight back, and that's why it's the job of the pitcher to stop that guy. And if you can get that walking lead and he doesn't stop you, well, get that momentum going.
Morgan Forsythe takes a breaking pitch for a strike. Now snap throw down to third. Back in it's Souza. Count on Forsythe goes to a ball and a strike. Chopper foul. Upstairs, takes the count to 2-2. Forsythe, the top of the order. Morrison on deck, into the dirt, and saved by Vasquez. Count is now full.
The wild pitch you were hoping for, that ball out in front of the plate, but a nice job by Vasquez, textbook, keeping that ball right in front.
Now the Red Sox missed Vasquez. He was highly touted coming up through their system. He was an outstanding catcher, had Tommy John surgery. They're happy to have him back. And Forsythe out on strikes. Good 3-2 pitch by Porcello. Tonight's Wednesday Showdown is brought to you by your Tampa Bay area Mazda dealers. In Fenway Park tonight, middle game of the series. Rays winners last night in 10 innings, 3-0. And down early tonight, Red Sox scored 3 in the first, added 2 on the Mookie Betts home run in the second inning. 5-0 as we go to the bottom of the third. David Ortiz will lead off against Chris Archer. It's a big cut, a foul ball. Strike one.
Right now, the Boston Red Sox comfortable in the batter's box, and that's why you're seeing those big swings.
There's the fastball in around 93, 94, 0-2. Cut and a miss. Ortiz out on the slider. One away here in the bottom of the third. Let's check in with Todd Callis.
Dwayne, our first question on this Web Wednesday regarding Chris Archer. He's admitted he hasn't had his A slider. The question's towards Brian Anderson, and BA viewer wants to know, is it a matter of just repetition when you lose the feel for a pitch, or is it something where you can look back at video from the previous year and compare where you are this year to last? Back to you guys.
Well, really, the easy answer and the only answer is all of the above. I mean, you really have to turn over every stone to try to figure out what's going on with your delivery and why pitches aren't acting the same way. And that could be repetition. It could be a feel thing. Some guys can feel it. I would think it's past that point because this has been a problem now for Chris Archer going into his 4th start of the season. So, it could be a video thing you go look at. I can remember Mark Connor, my pitching coach with the Diamondbacks, going through, similar struggles, from time to time where he would pull me in. And I remember one time I went in there and he had 2 monitors, one for me pitching when things were going well and one during that particular time with little strips of tape put onto the monitor saying, okay, now see, you're leaning here and your body hits the tape. Not so. I mean, anything that you can do to try to find out what the issue is, because we all know with the velocity on the fastball at 95 back to normal, we know that the arm, feels good, or at least we surmise that the arm feels good, or he wouldn't be throwing so hard. But it's about getting that command back, and specifically the depth on that slider. And you just have to unearth every stone to try to find out what you could do. And you got one of the best, if not the best, pitching coach in all of Major League Baseball trying to help you out.
Yeah, if you're struggling, Jim Hickey's the guy to have around you. Here a strikeout of Ortiz. Ramirez out on the fastball on the ground ball to second, and a base hit by Shaw brings up Brock Holt. 2 outs, a man on. Pitch upstairs. That margin for error from what you do on the mound and what arrives at the plate is astounding.
It is, and I always liken it. I'm talking to kids or about baseball or high school teams, whatever. Anybody that has played golf, you use the golf analogy, where if you're going to take a 60-foot putt and you're off by a degree when you make contact, well, by the time that ball rolls to home plate, how far off is it there? That's the margin for error. I mean, very little. You're off just a hair in your release point, your delivery. That becomes much bigger and more magnified by the time that ball reaches home plate.
So you think about in Archer's case, when he came out tonight and he's missing up again. Well, that release point and his delivery is off by a minuscule amount when he actually releases that pitch. But by the time the pitch gets to the plate, it's way higher than he wanted it to be.
Yeah, it really is. And that's why it can be maddening to fix these types of issues, because you're talking about fractions upon fractions of an inch in a release point. I mean, it's tiny. It's tiny. And that's what it looks like to me. If Chris Archer is healthy, and we fully believe that he is, then the arm is not catching up to the body. That's why the life and the depth is not on the slider, and why the command of the fastball is not quite there.
Fly ball the other way. This is Jennings in left. Holt is out of there, and the Red Sox finished in the third. 5-0 Boston. Rays baseball on Fox Sports Sun, brought to you by Ram Trucks, Guts, Glory, Ram. By Lazy Days RV, your RV authority. By your local Toyota dealers, let's go places. And by Tampa Bay Radiation Oncology. When cancer strikes, strike back with CyberKnife.
You know, sometimes, Dwayne, when you speak something out loud, you realize the mistakes that you make when you say things.
Happens all the time.
Yeah,
I'm
and you know what?
very familiar with that.
Well, listen, I understand now why I've never really had any good positive feedback from youth baseball teams that I've talked to. Because you're talking to a group of kids and you're talking about a 60-foot putt. No wonder the message never gets through. They're looking at me like, what sport is that? We're playing baseball here, and we're 9.
There's a pitch inside, 1-1.
I'm going to have to switch up the routine.
Well, the audience is wider than that here, so a good part of the audience probably got it.
But the pitching days for that audience are probably way over with.
1-1 as Logan Morrison lifts a fly ball into right. Mookie Betts is there to make the catch. 1 out here in the 4th. And here is Evan Longoria about to step in against Rick Porcello. Now the Rays got Souza Jr. to third base after he reached on the infield hit in the 3rd. That's been it so far against Porcello.
Well, when you have a lead like this, you know, you have to stay within the confines of the game plan, but it does allow you the ability to be a little bit more aggressive.
There's a breaking ball that stays up. 1 ball, no strikes. Not a lot of bite on that breaking ball. Right back to the hill. 2 up, 2 down. Follow Rays Baseball live with the MLB.com at Bat app. Stay up to the moment at any moment with Game Day. Live game video highlights, StatsCast, news, and more. Download MLB.com at Bat, the #1 app for live baseball on your phone and tablet. We've come prepared here. Blankets and jackets and caps.
if you stay stationary, and I know 48, 49 degrees doesn't sound that cold, but you sit in an older, very old actually, maybe refurbished, but very old stadium, concrete, and it's cold, it gets in your bones.
Yeah, the concrete retains this cold from what some will tell you was a mild winter. It's almost an oxymoron. Hey, it's good night for ice cream, though. You got a T-shirt on and ice cream. You got to like that.
That's a gamer. Gamer. Actually, how is he doing that?
He's doing it steadily. I mean,
tough kid.
Yeah. Well, you get into a rhythm. Just eat that ice cream. Then around Corey Dickerson's feet with a pitch. It's 1-2 to the Rays' designated hitter. Dickerson lifts it deep to left. Holt back to the track, to the wall, looking up off the wall. He gets a very good care and throw into second. Dickerson goes to the outside of the bag and gets in there. It appeared for a moment there that Holt had a great chance to throw out Dickerson, and an evasive slide by Dickerson helped that situation.
Well, the play is happening out in front of Corey Dickerson, and so he sees where the throw is coming from and where it's headed in relation to Dustin Pedroia. And so obviously at that point, then you know you're going to obviously slide away from that. This ball almost gets out of here, and Brock Holt actually almost got himself too close to the wall. Watch this. He doesn't even play it off the ground. He's so close. Boom, right there. And you see the throw start to fade a little bit. You head to the other side of the bag, and you keep that left hand on the back edge.
Now Desmond Jennings, so the Rays with another scoring opportunity.
See, watch him, look at right there. Read Pedroia and head to the back corner. That is well done. Be strong enough to keep those fingertips on it.
Two 2-0 the count to Desmond. Well, you're down by 5, just want to chip away. And here's a second opportunity for the Rays to begin chipping. Jennings has had some good numbers in his career against Porcello, 6 of 18, including a home run. 2-1. Close for ball 3. 3 balls and a strike.
Well, Desmond Jennings now can look for one pitch in one spot and turn it loose with the count firmly in his favor.
And that catches the corner, says Toby Brasner.
A borderline pitch there by Porcello, and obviously not in the area that Desmond was looking to drive a pitch. Now you've got to be able to cover everything.
Full count with Porcello stepping back. Well, on deck is Brad Miller. He's had success in his career against Porcello. And Desmond takes ball 4. So a couple of close pitches. The Red Sox got the call prior to that. And now Jennings heads to first with a walk on that pitch, ball 4.
Well, now you got to get an opportunity here with Brad Miller, who's had prior success against Porcello.
Brad Miller called out on strikes his first time. Well, this would be a big time for a hit here for Miller as the Rays trying to work their way back into this game. There's a shot into right. Betts going back. He's going to leap and makes the catch on a line drive. He was turned around and still made the grab. Where the Rays came close right there. That would have been something. There's another look out there in right field. Rays lead 2 and trail 5-0. Inning 4 at Fenway, and here's what's coming up tomorrow on Rays Live, pregame show presented by your Gulf Coast Honda dealers. Game 3 of the series tomorrow. Todd Callis sits down with David Price, and during the interview we'll get an update on Astro, the Wonder Dog, and Jake Odorizzi on the mound. We'll hear from him as well.
A real hard-hitting interview.
Yep. Vasquez, the catcher, taking the first pitch down. 1 ball and no strikes. When Todd Callis covers a topic, he covers it from A to Z. It doesn't leave out any letters in between. 1-1 to count.
Hard-hitting and extensive.
One and two. It's a nice slider right there.
Probably the best of the night.
You got Vasquez down 1-2 in the count in the second, and threw him a slider to strike him out, and he just got him again. Strikes him out to begin the bottom of the 4th inning. Coming into this inning, Archer had faced 16 hitters, had 5 first pitch strikes. Got ahead of Vasquez here and strikes him out.
Yeah, that's a tough way to pitch. Always pitching from behind, not able to dictate the count, expand the strike zone. Now you've got to be in the strike zone. It's just a much tougher way to pitch.
Jackie Bradley Jr. takes the ball. Bradley got into the act with a double off the wall in center field in the second. Only his second hit in 13 at-bats against Archer. 2-0. Rays have had a couple of opportunities. They've left 3 on in the last couple innings, 2 in scoring position. And now there's ball 3 to Bradley Jr. So after the strikeout of Vasquez, Archer behind Bradley Jr. 3-0. And he walks him. A 4-pitch walk, 1 on, 1 out. We go to the top of the order. Duke Energy proud to support the Rays and Tampa Bay area veterans. For every game the Rays win, Duke Energy donates $1,000 to area agencies working in support of our veterans. Duke Energy powering Florida with more than just energy. They're supporting our veterans and other local charities as well. Top of the order, Mookie Betts with a walk and a home run tonight. Boy, Archer working out of the stretch. He walked Betts to begin the first inning and found himself in the stretch for the rest of the first. Pitch is high. One on, 1 out. Two balls and nothing. The count. Down 3-0. This is after the 4-pitch walk to Bradley Jr.
Yeah, and you know, you've seen glimpses of Chris Archer being able to move the fastball around. We saw a couple of good sliders, well, actually one in particular to Christian Vasquez in this inning, and then all of a sudden, mechanically, just not there anymore. That last pitch was rushed. That's why it was arm side high. It's just a continual battle. Not only is it a continual battle physically, but the mental aspect too, and the way that your mind starts to race, things start to speed up on you. It's a very difficult place to be and to continue to perform at a major league level. This is where you talk about a game of adjustments and being mentally tough, because there's no place to hide when you're a pitcher. You're out in the middle of that field on that little bump all by yourself, and you've got to figure it out.
Gets a strike call there to run the count full on Betts. Betts walked a 3-1 pitch in the first, hit a 2-1 pitch out in the second, now 3-2 in the fourth. Runner goes. The pitch is ball 4. Back-to-back walks. And that gets Pedroia to the plate and Jim Hickey out of the dugout.
Well, and how many times have we seen, you know, Chris Archer, the body language, you know, the shaking of the head. You can see him out there just searching. What can I try next?
Well, the damage came early.
Taking advantage there of a slider that didn't have a lot of movement to it. Bogarts showing quick hands on a fastball middle in. Another slider that hung middle of the plate. Ortiz punched it to the wall in left center. And then Mookie Betts, after laying off a slider down and away, turns around a 95-mile-an-hour fastball off the light pole above the monster.
Well, a quick visit from Jim Hickey. 2 men on with 1 out. And in steps Dustin Pedroia. And the pitch is a strike. Ground ball third. Longoria steps on the bag and gets the double play to get Archer and the Rays out of that spot. We're through 4, headed into the 5th. 5-0. Geico, great moment on this day in 2006. Johnny Gomes hits 2 home runs as Tampa Bay defeats Boston 5-1 here at Fenway Park. Well, the Rays could use a couple of those tonight. And that young man wearing the jersey in commemoration of that 2 home run night by Johnny Gomes.
But still staying current with the hat.
Yep. Spanning time. There's a broken bat, ground ball to short. Souza is out at first base. And the barrel end of that bat wound up in the stands. And a fan made the grab.
And look at how that's broken off, a shard. You know, those things, when they snap like that, you get that, I mean, it becomes a sword. Very dangerous flipping up into the stands.
Well, they've added the netting here that extends down toward the dugout, and that made it over the netting. There's Kiermaier taking ball 1. There's part of the netting that has been extended. One and one now. Rays threatened in the 3rd, again in the 4th. They've left 3 on. Two and one. Foul back. Out of play it goes, and the count is square at 2-2 on Kiermaier. Porcello out of Morristown, New Jersey. 27-year-old right-hander. And this one down around Kiermaier's feet. And somehow Vasquez stopped that pitch.
And somehow Kevin Kiermaier got out of the way of it. I mean, some nifty dancing by Kiermaier. And Vasquez got walloped.
Oh, strike 3 call. Kiermaier thought he had drawn the walk and discarded the bat and is called out on strikes.
Well, borderline pitch, and a lot of times, you know, a hitter will give up on this pitch because it starts off the plate. A little late movement takes it right back to the very edge. The call does not go Kiermaier's way, and some frustration building in that Rays dugout.
And Conger looks at a strike. Fastball to start him around the knees. That puts him down 0-2. Curveball. Porcello handed an early lead, and he's been very professional about the way he's approached this game, pitching with a lead.
No, he has not strayed from the game plan. We've seen him at times be more aggressive, full counts, challenging guys with fastballs, but he's continued to work the ball around the zone and pitched as if it was a closer game. That's the one thing when you're handed a big league early, you can be more aggressive at certain points, but you also have to be smart. You just can't be reckless. Just start throwing the ball out over the heart of the plate and expect that lead to hold up.
Two and two to Conger. Rays managed to put men in scoring position in the third and fourth innings. Porcello 1, 2, 3 in the first two. Now 2 outs, nobody on in the fifth. And Conger's out on strikes. Off speed got him, and we go to the bottom of the fifth inning. 5-0 Boston. Through 4.5 at Fenway. David Ortiz picked up a double, drove in 2 runs in a 3-run first for the Red Sox. Mookie Betts connected in the second inning with Jackie Bradley Jr. aboard on a 2-run home run to make it 5-0, and Rick Porcello has done the rest for Boston.
been very sharp. Just 2 hits given up, 7 strikeouts. We've seen him move that sinker, that fastball of his around the zone very effectively, getting Rays hitters to look on one side of the plate, surprising them with it on the other.
6 of 20 first pitch strikes for Chris Archer, and he misses on the first pitch to Xander Bogaerts. So that's 6 of 21, and he has talked about needing to get out ahead, to get ahead in these counts, and then sharpening up the slider, and he's had issues on both fronts tonight.
It's hard to throw wipeout sliders in 2-0, 2-1, 3-1 counts. Now the thing is I don't even know if Chris at this point is capable of doing that. I think that pitch right now is still, under construction, trying to figure out how to get that depth back. But regardless, you can't throw it behind. You've got to throw strike sliders, and those are easier hit.
3-0 swinging, and there's a base hit by Bogaerts in the left. A leadoff single in the bottom of the 5th will get David Ortiz to the plate. The Toyota keys to the success. Well, this is a reflection of his success and the career of David Ortiz. 3 World Series titles, an MVP in the World Series in 2013, and 2016 on the all-time home run list with 506.
Boy, 9-time All-Star, Silver Slugger 6 times, and then the debate will commence. Hall of Fame as a DH.
Runner takes off. Ortiz drills it down the right field line. Bogaerts was breaking. They'll wave him home. He will score without a play on the double by Ortiz, and it's 6-0.
Well, Ortiz not wasting any time rifling a ball down into the right field corner. I thought that the Rays had an opportunity to keep Bogaerts over there at third base. A pitch that was just middle. And it gets turned around. Watch his ball go down into the corner, kind of spinning sideways. Bogaerts still able to get all the way around there, add to the lead.
Now Hanley Ramirez with nobody out, and Ortiz at second. There's a first pitch strike. Ramirez 0 for 2. And 0-2 the count. Archer and the Rays now down by 6. Chris came into this game having lost 6 straight decisions over 10 starts against the Red Sox since he won his first career start against them back in September of 2012. Ramirez a big cut, and he found it. So coming in to this game, he was 1-6 against Boston with a .514 in 11 career starts. Against everybody else, 31-29 with a .321. So trouble against Boston, and more of that tonight on an evening when his performance has been uneven. He strikes out Ramirez. Second time he has fanned him, and that's the first out in the 5th. So 1 out, a runner in second, a run home. Kevin Cash out to make a pitching change here in the middle of the 5th inning. Back in a moment. Baseball on Fox Sports Sun is brought to you by Ram Trucks, Guts, Glory Ram. By Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. And by your Southern Chevy dealers. In Boston, a disappointing night for Chris Archer. He leaves 1 out into the 5th inning, allowing 6 runs and responsible for a man on. There's the line on him, and Dana Eveland is the new pitcher. Eveland on to face Travis Shaw. Shaw is 1 for 2 tonight. Takes the count to 0-2. Shaw had a base hit with 2 outs in the 3rd. Eveland, 32 years old. He is the oldest pitcher on the Rays roster at 32. A ball and 2 strikes.
I'll tell you, he gives you a difficult arm angle to deal with. And so far in the early going, few appearances out of that bullpen. We've seen really good sink, good movement on the fastball, able to sweep that slider. You can see how his stuff plays and how effective it can be.
Fly ball left center. This is Jennings closing to make the catch, and Ortiz is back at second base.
Well, anything that hangs up in left center field included, you got to feel pretty good about your chances of running it down with Jennings and Kiermaier and the closing speed.
Well, Brock Holt's going to be the hitter. Tonight's Les Motor Player Profile brought to you by BMW Mini, and that would be Brock Holt out of Fort Worth, Texas, originally in the Pirates organization, and made the All-Star team last year. He looks at the first pitch for a ball. Not only has he been fundamentally a very good player here for the Red Sox, but a guy who can hit, and he infuses some energy in this team. 1-1.
They've got an interesting mix of young players like Holt and Betts, Bogarts, Vasquez. And then you've got your veterans, Ortiz and Hanley Ramirez.
High chop. Charged by Miller. Tough play. No place to go there. Ortiz moves over to third on the infield chopper for the base hit off the bat of Brock Holt.
And that looked like that ball went right off the plate because it came out of that box hot and high right there. Yeah, off the plate, and just forget it. There's no play to be made.
Two outs, a run home with Boston runners at first and third. And now Christian Vasquez. Which is a strike. Dana Evelyn. This pitched 6 days ago in the Cleveland series. He hadn't pitched in 8 days prior to that one. Runner goes, and the pitch is a strike. And Holt moves into second.
Not paying a whole lot of attention. The high leg kick by Dana Evelyn allows Brock Holt a huge jump.
A ball and 2 strikes. Still a ball, 2 strikes.
Well, the question here for the Rays is, where do you go from here with Chris Archer? Because the work being done in between starts has yet to manifest itself with better performances. And now you worry about it invading the head. And that's where it gets real weird.
Cut to miss. Vasquez out on strikes for the 3rd time. 1 run, 1 left. Through 5, 6-0 Boston. To the 6th, Red Sox making some changes. Brock Holt moves in from left field to take over at shortstop. Chris Young's in the game in left, and Holt replaces Bogarts.
Here's Bogarts off and running. This ball hit up the right field line. A little wide turn there. You really don't see anything that stands out. slows up coming to the plate. And then as he heads into the dugout, really the only thing that you see is you watch Torey Lovullo come over, very almost questioning what's going on. The look of, I wouldn't say concern, but you can see right there him trying to figure out what exactly is going on with him. And maybe something with a calf. Those last few steps going towards home plate were very ginger.
So Bogaerts out of the game, top of the order for the Rays in the 6th inning. 1-0 the count on Logan Forsythe facing Rick Porcello. Outside 2-0. Forsythe, then Morrison and Longoria. Logan up 3-0 now. So Archer pitched 4 1/3, gave up 8 hits, 6 runs, all earned. Walked 3, struck out 6, surrendered a home run. Made 84 pitches, of which 48 were strikes. And he did not get ahead of hitters the way he had hoped that he could. Getting word that Bogaerts had some tightness in his left quad, so they're not going to push that.
Early in the season, cold night. Well, it's back to the drawing board for Chris Archer.
Foul ball again, so Forsythe, who had gotten way ahead, now with a full count and fouling off a couple of pitches. Chris coming into this game 0-3 and down 6-0 in the 6th inning of this game. Fly ball straight away center. Bradley going back toward the wall. That's over his head. Bounce back toward the deep part of the park. Betts there to pick it up. It's going to be a triple by Forsythe to lead off the 6th inning. Boy, what a blast off the bat of Logan Forsythe, picking up his first triple of the year.
Boy, that's an angled wall out there in center field, and he was going towards the big part. That is an absolute blast because it's to the right field side of second base. Got the head out and got great carry. And watch this thing just go. Right out near the 420 sign. That ball was blistered.
And here's how it requires the outfielders to know how to play those angles. Because off that wall, it takes it toward that 420 marker. And Betts was there to back it up. But still a triple by Forsythe. And Logan Morrison up here as the Rays try to pick up their first run. It's out of play down the left side. And the grab. But that catch. One of the few times you'll see people in Boston high-fiving anyone with a Yankees cap on.
They can't see it. That's the problem. Camouflage. Maybe someone just told him to lose it.
Pitch is up. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Morrison fouls it back. Rays facing Rick Porcello. And that's out number one. Change up, strikes out Logan Morrison.
You can feel that pitch coming. After the previous fastball was elevated and fouled off, comes back with a changeup and just floats it right off the outside corner, and Logan Morrison comes up empty.
Now Evan Longoria. Rays have left 3 men on base, 2 in scoring position. Trying to cash in on the leadoff triple by Logan Forsythe. A ball, no strikes. Ground ball to third. Throw to first is going to be in time. The run scores. So the Rays get a run on the ground ball to third off the bat of Evan Longoria. So the Rays get on the board to make it a 6-1 ball game.
And Boston more than happy to trade an out for that run. Travis Shaw playing back and didn't even give a look to Logan Forsythe. Just take the out at first base.
And that'll be Corey Dickerson. Dickerson doubled off the left field wall in the fourth. Rays have 3 hits tonight, a single, a double, and a triple. That's a ball. One out in front of the changeup.
That's been a good pitch for Porcello here tonight. He's been good with the sinker, moving in around the zone. I've seen some good breaking balls, some sharp curve balls, but that changeup has been really the great equalizer here tonight. Picked up a few strikeouts with it and just kept the Rays off balance so far.
Now 2-1. Rays came into the game 6-7. Boston 6-7. And a drive high and deep into right center field. That one will get out of here over the bullpen and into the stands. Home run for Corey Dickerson. And the Rays get their second run of the night on his 4th home run of the year. Dickerson drives this one over the Boston bullpen and up into the stands.
Well, he's got big time power and a very, very aggressive swing. And he got a hanging breaking ball here. Boy, that didn't do much of anything, but travel a long way after the swing.
And with that home run, the Rays as a team have now hit for the cycle. Souza Jr.'s single, Dickerson's double, Forsythe with a triple, and now Dickerson with a home run. And it's 6-2. 1-0 the count to Desmond Jennings. Upstairs, Vasquez is going to have a little get together with Porcello here. 2 outs and 2 runs into the 6th.
Well, Rays making a little bit of a move here. Cut into it a little bit. Still have a few more at bats. This inning's not even over yet. That breaking ball just hanging right there. That uppercut. That big finish.
Ground ball 3rd. Shaw makes the throw to first, and the Rays are finished. But they come up with 2 runs on a couple of hits in the 6th. A home run by Corey Dickerson, his 4th of the season, accounting for the 2nd run of the inning. 6-2 Boston. Two onto the bottom of the 6th inning. Jackie Bradley Jr. leads off for Boston against the veteran left-hander Dana Evelyn. And Evelyn hits Bradley Jr., who's on now for the 3rd straight time. He has doubled, walked, and now he's been hit by a pitch.
Now this ball meant to be away. And that ball up and in right off the arm of Bradley Jr., and that will end Evelyn's night.
The 6th inning, Tonight's Cold Hard Facts brought to you by Clean Crisp Coors Light. And Mookie Betts has been rather rude to Rays pitching in his young career.
Well, and listen, you're not going to find many hitters that put those numbers up against a pitching staff like this. He hasn't been around but just a few years for the Boston Red Sox, and in that time, you know the kind of pitching staffs that the Rays have put out there. But boy, he has had his way, and this was a big blast here in the second inning. A 3-0 game at this point. 95 miles an hour with some elevation, middle in, and he hammers it to left field. That's the one thing that we pointed out about Mookie Betts, is he does a nice job of waiting back on breaking balls, but on the fastballs, even the best of them, his hands are lightning quick.
His second career home run against Chris Archer. And now it's Ryan Webb in this game to face Mookie Betts. And a move to first. He's picked off Bradley Jr. Boy, Bradley had no place to go with that move over there.
No, that may have been a case of Jackie Bradley Jr. got hit by the pitch, first pitch of the at-bat. Now I'm going to steal second. And Ryan Webb did an excellent job. Quick feet. Well, he absolutely was going, and just that little movement towards second base and not a chance to get back.
There's a strike call now to Betts. Well, the other thing about Mookie Betts, we've seen him make outstanding defensive plays as well. He can go get the ball. He's playing right field because Bradley Jr. is so good in center, but Mookie Betts could play anywhere in the outfield.
Oh, yeah. That play that he made earlier tonight on the ball hit by Brad Miller. I mean, you see sometimes a ball get hit deep, a deep fly ball where an outfielder will turn and run to a spot, spin back around, find it, readjust, and make the catch. He did that on a line drive. Line drive over his head. He turned, scrambled back, spun back around, picked it up, and was able to make a leaping catch and made it look pretty easy, and it was anything but.
And line drives hit right at you are hard to play anyway.
Oh, you see those get butchered all the time. It's a tough read. And a lot of times you get a ball, especially in center field, you get the ball knuckling just a little bit. With those hard line drives hit at you on the corners, that ball's going to have some funky spin on it.
Two the count to Betts. Ground ball going to go through the middle. He's on base for the 4th time tonight.
Great adjustment. That was a sinker there by Ryan Webb. We talked about the inside-out swing from time to time when he's not looking to pull. That's what he did there. Stayed on that pitch, stayed inside that pitch, and took it right back up the middle. He is a dangerous player.
Dustin Pedroia looks at a strike. Webb starts him with a slider. Pedroia 1 out of 3. He singled and scored in the first. And the Red Sox put up 3. They added 2 in the second and 1 more in the 5th. The Rays got 2 in the 6th inning. 2 now. Webb last pitched on the 14th against the Indians, and the game started by Archer. Pitched 1 inning in that game. Foul ball, and the count remains 0-2. First base again, and Betts is back in there. One on, one out. Webb picked off Bradley Jr., gave up the base hit to Mookie Betts. Runner goes. Pitch into the dirt, and it skips by Conger. A big turn, and Betts hangs on at second base.
Boy, and if that ball was not retrieved by Hank Conger any quicker than that, I'll tell you what, Mookie Betts had a chance to get to third. Off and running, had a great jump, high leg kick, and that ball bouncing right back to Hank Conger. He gets on it quickly and able to keep Betts out there at second base.
Well, Betts was breaking. He'll get a stolen base for that. His third of the year in as many attempts. So now he's in scoring position. This one deflecting off Conger.
The side of the mask near the neck area. That ball running in. You know, Ryan Webb has that super sink. So that ball continues to run in on Pedroia. It's a changeup too. But look at the side spin. Right off the bat, off the tip of the glove, and right in the side of the neck. Well, he's got beat up tonight.
If there's any place not protected, the baseball will find it. One and two, the count still to Pedroia. And a cut and a miss. That takes care of Pedroia for the second out. Fastball away, got Pedroia. Now the third spot, originally occupied by Xander Bogaerts, and it's going to be Chris Young, who entered the game and left when Holt took over for Bogaerts at shortstop, moving in from left. Young joining this team primarily to get at bats against left-handed pitching. Faces the right-hander Ryan Webb. Into the dirt. There goes a runner over to third. Now Betts, who picked up the base hit, stole second, moves to third on that pitch in the dirt.
Well, we've talked about him swinging the bat. We've talked about his defense. How about his base running? In this case right here, anticipation. See the ball in the dirt, and no hesitation, get down to third base.
Oh, covered by Conger. And Betts alert, keeping track of that pitch down. Liner into left, that's in there for a base hit. Betts scores, and the Red Sox increase the lead back to 5.
Well, they answer. The Rays cut into that lead 6-2, and then good base running by Betts, the stolen base, the move up to third, and then Chris Young just into the game. Does most of his playing against left-handed pitching, gets an opportunity here against Webb, and Webb left that pitch up.
Well, there's David Ortiz. This pitch he takes for a strike. Ground ball right side. Webb's going to have to cover, throw to first in time from short right field. Forsythe out of the stretch, or out of the shift. Got that ball over to Webb to retire the side. 7-2 Boston.
Erasmo Ramirez down in the Rays bullpen tonight. Before the game, Kevin Cash was asked if Erasmo was available in the bullpen tonight, and he said yes. He was also asked if Erasmo might be the starter in the TBA over the weekend at Yankee Stadium. He also said yes to that. So the question, guys, on our Web Wednesday from our fans is, at what point does Erasmo find his role, or might he be comfortable going back and forth for a little while? Guys, back to you.
I think he's found his role. He'll pitch anywhere, anytime, any day.
Yeah, I will second that.
He's an amazing guy. We go to the 7th, and Brad Miller takes the pitch high. Well, eventually you figure he's going to be in a 5-man rotation, but with all the days off during the early part of the season, he finds himself in the bullpen tonight. He's worked out of the bullpen, picked up a win last night out of the bullpen. He's 3-0. Started on the last homestand, pitched great. So whatever needs to be done, ask him and he'll do it.
You know, some guys are resistant to that type of a role. Erasmo Ramirez not concerned with role. He just is concerned with, how am I going to pitch? I don't care how you use me. I mean, I'm sure that he, deep down inside, he's got a preference. Maybe not. His preference may be just to pitch. I'll tell you what, any role that he has been in, out of the bullpen or in the starting rotation, he has really thrived over the last year.
Yeah, and I think there's no question that he would prefer to start, but he's certainly willing to do whatever. And when you look at the American League wins, look at Chris Sale and Marcus Stroman. You know, they're the #1 pitchers on their respective teams, and Ramirez has as many wins.
Ramirez got his last start just a few days ago at home, and he was the first Rays starting pitcher to get a victory. Gave everybody a head start, a couple of turns. Okay, you guys aren't going to get it done? Then I will. And he was mighty impressive in his work. What, 66 pitches in 5 2/3? I mean, that's just tremendous.
There's a strike to Souza Jr. The count is 1-1. Now you look at that New York series beyond tomorrow when Jake Odorizzi pitches against David Price here in Boston. Matt Moore is going to open it Friday. And then Saturday's open, and Drew Smiley will pitch Sunday. But Kevin Cash did say that Ramirez can certainly be in there to start the game on Saturday and available tonight in the bullpen.
Well, for him to see action tonight, the Rays offense is going to have to go crazy.
2-2 the count here on Souza Jr. A cut and a miss. Souza Jr. strikes out. Gives him 1 for 3 tonight. 9 strikeouts for Porcello tonight.
Yeah, and that's not usually his game. He will rack up some strikeouts, but he's not a power pitching type of guy, more of a ground ball type pitcher. But boy, oh boy, he's had it working here tonight. He's been impressive. I mean, you got to tip your hat watching him move that ball around the zone. He's been one step ahead of Rays hitters.
Kiermaier checks in time.
I mean, he's been good at, starting on one side of the plate, getting you looking there, and then all of a sudden closing you out on the other side of the plate. And then very good with a lot of hard stuff, getting you look for that, and then change it up.
Fly ball, left center field, off the monster out there. Kiermaier on his way to second, and he's in there with a double.
Tell you, you want to get a double on balls shot into left field, you got to get out of the box pretty hot, because that ball comes off the green monster. These Red Sox outfielders are making plays trying to keep the Rays to a single, but this ball hit well and right there, off and running.
Well, that pitch working its way to the outside corner, and he hit it, went with it that way, and a pretty good job of playing the monster. But Kiermaier's right there.
Anybody with less speed and getting to top speed than Kiermaier.
Now Conger lines one into right field, and here comes Kiermaier in to score. So on the first pitch, Conger drives in the run, his first RBI of the year. The Rays on the board for the 3rd time tonight.
Maybe Erasmo's starting to get those legs warm and loosen up a bit. Another answer here by the Rays. Trying to make it interesting late. That ball out over the plate, Conger all over it.
Rays have 7 outs to work with here. Carl Willis on his way to the mound. Junichi Tazawa up in the bullpen. And Porcello over 100 pitches, 106 pitches. Reminder, MLB is in full swing, and tomorrow Miguel Cabrera and the Tigers take on division rival and reigning World Series champion, the Kansas City Royals, at 6:30 Eastern, in a game you can only see on FS1 or watch it live on Fox Sports Go. Logan Forsythe, the top of the order, taking a strike. Well, I'll tell you, one swing of the bat could make it real interesting here, with Forsythe facing Porcello now. Upstairs, 1-1. You pop one over the green monster here, and it's a 2-run ball game.
Yeah, and in this ballpark, 2 runs, next to nothing. 4 runs can happen in a hurry.
Now 2 balls and a strike. Logan with a triple and a run scored tonight. He is 5 of 13 in his career off Rick Porcello. Fly ball back into right field. Betts backing up with a lot of room out there in right to make the catch. Rays going to run in the 7th and leave one, and trail 7-3. 7-3. Boston jumped to a 6-0 lead. The Rays have tried to break into that deficit. Big night for David Ortiz. 3 runs batted in, couple of hits, and Mookie Betts with a 2-run home run. He has scored 3 and driven in 2. And we go to the bottom of the 7th inning with Danny Farquhar, the 4th pitcher on the hill for the Rays tonight. All set to face Hanley Ramirez.
Danny's on for the 5th time, 4 innings of work. Here you're looking for a nice clean inning. Get that offense back to work and see if you can't make things interesting at the end of the game.
First pitch, there's a shot to left field, and making the catch on the track is Jennings. Well hit by Ramirez.
Boy, a hard line drive, and there's just not a lot of room out there with the Green Monster. This line drive almost pinning Desmond to the wall. Nice play.
His heart's really beating hard, or he's keeping his hand warm out there after that line drive.
That may be both.
Yeah.
It might be both.
Yeah, that line drive hit as hard as that was headed your way will catch your attention. 0-2. Temperature was 48 degrees at game time, down to 45 right now. Into right center field. That's going to drop for a base hit. Souza Jr. returns it to the infield. Shaw has his 2nd hit tonight.
Kind of hooked that ball out there and just dropped it in. And we talk about the amount of ground that Jennings and Kiermaier can cover. Well, Souza Jr. and Kiermaier cover a lot of ground too, but well placed by Shaw.
1 on, 1 out against Farquhar, and here is the shortstop now, Brock Holt. Rays right-hander worked in the game Saturday against the White Sox. Pitched 1 inning in that 7-2 victory for the Rays. 1 scoreless inning, allowing a hit, picking up a strikeout. It's 1-1. Ball, 2 strikes. Farquhar coming over along with Brad Miller and Logan Morrison from the Mariners in the Nathan Carnes deal. Scooped out by Conger. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Center field. Kiermaier going back. He's going to leap. He got it. Kevin Kiermaier makes the catch and a long throw back to first. A little late to try to double up Shaw, but what a grab out there by Kiermaier on a ball that took off, and so did Kiermaier to get back to make that catch.
Boy, that was a ball hit right over his head and hit with some authority. And watch him track it down. Nifty little slide there too to stop the momentum. You want to turn and get the throw back in. You're not really sure where the runner is. You're worried about catching that ball. And so you go down with this pop-up slide and fire the ball back in. That was well done.
Yeah, that slide and the pop-up almost as impressive as the catch. That catch was outstanding. Now here's Vasquez taking breaking pitch in for a strike. The dugout foul. A 2-strike count. And a cut and a miss. Vasquez out on strikes. A scoreless 7th inning. We go to the 8th. Braves down by 4. Well, the Rays with 2 shots left, and they're going to get into the Boston bullpen now. Porcello gone after 7, and Shinichi Tozawa will make his 9th appearance, including an inning in last night's game when he struck out 3 and walked 1.
Well, he has that kind of stuff, and he'll give you a little bit of everything. Fastball with good velocity, got the slider, a split, throws a curveball. Rays try to make it interesting, starting here with Logan Morrison.
Well, Logan 0 for 3 tonight. Rays continue to look for him to break out. It's been a tough stretch to begin this year. So it's Morrison, Longoria, and then Dickerson against Tozawa.
You know, the same thing that we talk about Chris Archer having to deal with, it starts to seep into your mind, and that's the danger. Same thing with Logan Morrison. What may have started off as something mechanical, maybe some strike zone discipline, now starts to morph into your mind. You understand what your numbers are, and it becomes just as important of a battle to battle your mind and the negative thoughts that are trying to creep in.
He's ahead in the count, 2-0.
That's why Kevin Cash, still trying to infuse Logan Morrison with confidence by leaving him in the 2-hole in the lineup, trying to say, hey, listen, I've got faith in you, but you're trying to anything to keep this guy's confidence level up.
Well, Cash has been asked about that, and he says he hasn't given it any thought of moving him out of the number 2 spot.
Well, you can imagine how difficult this stretch is for Logan Morrison.
Of course.
And if Kevin Cash just fires him down to 7 or 8 after a few games, now what? Now, but then there's the fine line of, if there is no production, how long can he stay in the 2-hole? It'll be interesting to see how that unfolds.
Well, there's ball 4, leadoff walk. Morrison is aboard. Well, when you think about it, Morrison, obviously he's not gonna go 2 for every 40 this year. His track record tells you he's gonna get some hits and drive in a few runs. But with that start, with Archer's start, 0-3 coming into this game with a .587 and now down here in the 8th of that one. So with Archer 0-3 and struggling, and Morrison giving them nothing out of the number 2 spot. You look at this club, they were 6-7 on the year despite all that. And the fact that they're last in the league in runs scored, which they don't figure to be when it's all over. To be pushing 500 is fairly remarkable.
And really, it's been the pitching staff.
Yep.
The dominance of the pitching staff. Drew Smyly we saw last night. How good has Matt Moore been? Erasmo Ramirez in his 1 start. I mean, there's a lot of guys chipping in on the pitching staff that have given the Rays that great opportunity.
1-0 pitch, high pop foul by Longoria, back fair and caught by Ramirez. How about that one? That started well foul and was carried back just inside the first base line to retire Longoria.
When you could see the reaction of Hanley Ramirez after making that catch. That pop-up had some English on it. That's what he's saying right there. Things spinning all over the place.
Look at that. He's in the coaching box, and he'll wind up fair when he catches it.
Not the most efficient route, but he got the job done.
Longoria trying to take advantage of a pitch up after Tazawa had walked Morrison on 4 pitches and then missed on the first pitch to Evan. Here's Corey Dickerson. Fouls it back. Dickerson has a double and a home run tonight. His home run came in the 6th inning.
That's a hanging breaking ball right there, and he shows you how he can pop it out over the Red Sox bullpen. Another one of those would be fun.
Again, would make it quite interesting here. Well, you get a game down to a 2-run game late here. Anything could happen. Snap throw to first. Morrison back in on the pitch high to Dickerson. And the count is 1-1. Porcello worked the first 7. Gave up 3 runs, 6 hits, struck out 9, walked 1, made 111 pitches, and has given way to Junichi Tazawa. He walked the first man he faced. 1 on with 1 out in the 8th. And a 1-1 count to Dickerson. Fly ball center field. Bradley Jr. back to make the catch. Two outs in the 8th. Desmond Jennings on his way to the plate. Desmond walked on a 3-2 pitch back in the 4th, so 0 for 2. Not shot, line drive, foul.
I'll tell you what, you come to a ball game, your eyes cannot leave the action. That got into the stands so fast.
Got him in the rotator cuff. Now 2 strikes with the foul ball. This one is popped into left center. Young from left makes the catch, and after the walk, 3 balls hit into the air. We go to the bottom of the 8th. Rays down 7-3. Fox Sports Sun is brought to you by Ram Trucks, Guts, Glory, Ram. By your local BMW centers. And by your Gulf Coast Honda dealers. "7-3 ball game from Fenway Park in Boston. Crowd of 31,689 here on the night in which it was 48 degrees for the first pitch. Presently 45 degrees for Steve Geltz. Geltz went to the University of Buffalo, so this is warm weather to him. And here's Jackie Bradley Jr. to lead off the bottom of the 8th. And a cut and a miss, strike 1. Bradley Jr. has been on 3 times with a double, a walk, and hit by a pitch. Scored a run back in the 2nd when he doubled and Betts hit the home run. And against the shift, there's a bunt pop foul. Karam's off the screen.
Evan Longoria, the only one over there on the left side of the infield, and he's out near shortstop. Jackie Bradley Jr. trying to take an easy hit there to the left side. Well, with this big night tonight, I mean, the Boston 9-hole in the lineup coming into play today was hitting 300. And a big night by Bradley Jr. They may be now obviously above that, but they were 2nd in major leagues, and that batting average could be the best.
The 9 spot and the number 1 spot has been on base 7 times in 7 plate appearances in this game. They've scored 4 of the 7 runs and driven in 2.
It's a deep lineup.
Yes.
I mean, it's a deep lineup. When you got Bradley Jr. down there doing his thing, and then you think about Betts through Holt, even Vasquez in the 8-hole.
Pitch jammed him, popped him foul, but no chance there with that shift on.
Now it makes it all the more impressive what Drew Smiley did to this group last night. 1 hit through 8, double-digit strikeouts again.
Oh, 2 again. Up and away, 1 ball, 2 strikes. Line drive, and it's caught right there by Forsythe. Stationed between first and second, and a step on the outfield grass. One gone in the 8th. We'll be with you tomorrow. Day game here. Our coverage begins at 1 o'clock, and what a great pitching matchup. Jake Odorizzi against David Price to take an extended lunch hour. Maybe relax tomorrow afternoon while the Rays and the Red Sox play here in the wrap-up game of this series from Fenway. Mookie Betts takes a pitch upstairs. Betts with 2 walks, a homer, and a single, a stolen base, 3 runs scored, 2 runs driven in, and a couple outstanding plays in the outfield. This guy might be better than we thought he was going to be. And remember the first time we saw him? Boy, he was impressive right from the get-go.
2 guys really stood out the first time we saw him. Number 1 was Brock Holt, the way that he played the game, and then Mookie Betts. And I'll tell you what, you're right. And not even talking about his base running. A great job on the base paths, anticipation on balls in the dirt. He's an all-around tremendous player, and Brock Holt, one of the most versatile players in the game.
Two and two the count to Betts. The right side, that's going to be out of play. Ball game, bottom of the 8th. The Red Sox scored 5 of their runs in the first 2 innings, added a single run in the 5th and a run in the 6th inning. The Rays got 2 in the 6th. Corey Dickerson hit a home run in that inning. Another run in the 7th. Lifted into center, cutting to his right, Kiermaier. He's there and makes the catch. So finally, Bradley Jr. and Betts are retired. First time that's happened tonight. Now Dustin Pedroia single. Chris Archer worked the first 4 1/3, gave up 6 runs on 8 hits and struggled with his command. Big cut. Pedroia fouls this one, and again it catches Hank Conger. Tough night for the Rays catcher tonight.
Was hit lower body type injury in the side of the neck. That one's straight off the forehead.
Strike the count to Pedroia. When you look at Archer's numbers tonight, what really tells the story is that he faced 23 hitters and threw 8 first pitch strikes.
I mean, low 30s in the percentile, not anywhere near where you want to be. That puts you in a hole. It makes you more apt to being behind like that, forces you out over the plate. It's not exactly where you want to be. You want to be working ahead and expanding the plate and then off to try to get chases. But even on top of that, those numbers not good at all, but the stuff. The fastball at times was good to both sides of the plate. Other times, rushing the delivery, they stayed high. And the sliders still don't have that depth that we were so used to seeing. Actually, last year he was so good with that pitch, you took it for granted. You never thought about the day when he wouldn't have his good slider because he had it every start. And now we've had 4 straight where you haven't really seen those types of sliders.
Well, you put 8 out of 23 first pitch strikes, and not his A slider, as Chris himself said. And it's a challenge out there now.
And he didn't get a whole lot of help from the changeup either.
Yep.
Especially early in the outing. A lot of them that ended up, out of the hand and into the dirt.
Two outs with the bases empty. Red Sox have not been set down in order in this game. Geltz trying to get Pedroia take care of that. Two balls, 2 strikes. Upstairs, 3-2. Chopper to short. Miller's throw to first, and 1-2-3 go the Red Sox. For the first time tonight, we go to the 9th. 7-3 Boston. Our game moves into the 9th inning at Fenway. Boston jumping to an early 5-0 lead with a 3-run first and a couple runs in the 2nd inning. Mookie Betts hitting a 2-run home run in that frame. They added a run in the 5th and one in the 6th. Rays a couple in their 6th inning on a triple by Forsythe and a ground ball from Longoria. Then the Corey Dickerson home run. Rays added a run in the 7th, and so we go to the 9th. Noe Ramirez, who just came back to the Red Sox from Pawtucket, will come on to work the 9th inning. 7 innings from Porcello, 1 inning from Tazawa. And Brad Miller will be the first man to face Ramirez.
A quick turnaround for Ramirez, heading down to Pawtucket. The injury to Joe Kelly shakes up that pitching staff, so back he comes.
Miller, who is 0 for 3 with a line drive out to the right field of Mookie Betts back in the 4th. That's the ball we Talked about an inning or so ago that was hit on a line over his head, and he still got back to make the catch. One and one now. Souza Jr. on deck. Rays need some base runners, down 7-3. And Miller is behind in the count, 1-2.
You can see Ramirez, that almost sidearm arm angle, fastball, changeup, slider.
Fouled away. Well, tomorrow, wrap-up game of the series, Jake Odorizzi against David Price. Great pitching matchup. Our coverage begins at 1 o'clock tomorrow. And Miller out on strikes. Vasquez with a toss down to first to complete the strikeout. 10 strikeouts now for Boston pitching tonight. And here's Steven Souza Jr.
And that's nothing new. This Boston staff, they lead all of Major League Baseball. Almost 10.5 strikeouts per 9, already at the magic 10 number here tonight. I'll tell you what, the strikeout numbers this year, we thought they were big last year. It just seems like that's the preferred method of retiring a hitter. I mean, how many times we saw the Rays lose a game where they struck out, what, 15?
Yeah.
I mean, how do you do that?
Outs and out, I guess.
There's so many power arms in the game and guys that have wipeout breaking pitches. Not like that.
Yeah. 0-2.
And you see hitters trying to make the adjustment. Watch this breaking ball here by Ramirez and how much ground it covers.
You know, that's a good pitch, too. And he uses that changeup against lefties.
Yeah.
In a limited number of at-bats last year, he was very tough against left-handed hitters. Ground ball to short. Holt retires Souza Jr.
That was the strikeout pitch to Miller.
Yeah.
Was the changeup.
He did have a limited sample, but lefties hit only 200 against him last year. And right-handers 262. And here is Kevin Kiermaier, raised down to their final out. Kiermaier, base hit into right. Kevin picks up his second hit tonight. Well, he didn't wait around on the first fastball. He pulls it into right field.
That really is the approach of the hitters. We were talking about how much good stuff is in the game and the ability to strike guys out. You see hitters, they don't want to get to 2 strikes. There's not many guys that are comfortable hitting in that position anyway, so that first hittable fastball that's out over the plate, you got to go for it.
There's Hank Conger. He let it out there on that first pitch. Strike one. Conger drove in a run with a line drive base hit to right in the 7th. His first run batted in of the year. Kiermaier heads to second with no play. Pitch a ball to Conger. Porcello for 7, Tazawa 1, and now Ramirez. For the Rays, Archer 4 1/3, Evelyn, Webb, Farquhar, and Geltz following to the hill. Two balls, 1 strike. Rays came in with a 3-game winning streak. Boston with a 3-game losing streak. And now it's 2-2. Ramirez staying away from Conger. And that's fouled back. Second game of the 3-game series between the Rays and the Red Sox here tonight. Stretch of 12 consecutive games against all 4 AL East opponents. And a swing and a miss. Conger strikes out. This game is over. A couple of strikeouts in the 9th for Ramirez, and the Red Sox defeat the Rays tonight 7-3 to even this series at a game apiece. 7-12-0 for Boston, 3-7-0 for the Rays. Porcello picks up his 3rd win of the year in as many starts, and Chris Archer's record drops to 0-4